Today I'll be giving you a whistle-stop tour of my Core-Keeper base progress so far, showing you where I keep my animals, cook my animals, read the Twilight novels, and where I relax after a hard day of core-keeping, and everything else in between. Welcome back to the channel everyone, my name is Kane, and after several requests for a base tour, it is finally here. It is a little overdue as I went to a wedding, then got ill, then had a very busy work week, but I've finally been able to escape back into Core-Keeper with you all. I've also been a little hesitant to post this video because I am a bit of a perfectionist and my base is far from finished. It's definitely a work in progress, but I thought I'd show off the progress so far anyways, since a few of you requested it. Anyways, that's enough rambling on from me, so let's just dive into the tour. Hey AD, welcome to my home. No, we're not actually going to do that. So I originally set up this waypoint here to make this a sort of mining or smelting outpost. This is because there was 7 or 8 ore boulders all in close proximity to each other, so it seemed like a good place to set up an outpost. So that's probably a good place to start. So over here to the right, this is where I set up my sort of mining area. So all of the different ores are all leading into this one little location. So I try to give this a sort of dwarven forge type vibe by placing all these different machinery decorations that I found in the desert biome, and placing some lava around here as well. This area actually made me tons of resources early on. I had a pretty much endless supply of scarlet, which is why I made the whole base out of scarlet, and also made a ton of scarlet drills and robotic arms. After I set up this little smelting area, I started to visit this place very often, so I decided to expand it out. And that's basically when I made this giant circle around my base of scarlet walls. And I decided I was going to make a few more different rooms in this area too. So one of the next things I did here was set up a wood farm. So let's quickly fly along to the wood farm, which is just up north here. As you can see, this farm is pretty compact. Doesn't farm a crazy amount of wood, but it definitely serves my purposes and suits my needs. This chest is pretty full of loads of different things. I have a lot of wild warden pants in here actually. I guess it's been killing some mobs here and there as well. If you want to learn how to set up this wood farm or the automated smelters that I showed you in the previous room, make sure to check out this video that I'm popping up on screen. In that video, I explain how to set these up in a way that's really easy to follow. After setting up that wood farm, I also set up this pretty small farm down here as well. This is really just to top up on food if I needed it whilst I was at this base. My main food source is over at the bigger farms over on the multiplayer base, which is where I get most of my food. These farm plots are basically just 5x5 with a sprinkler in the middle, so I just have to harvest with a 5x5 hoe every so often and then lay out the seeds again. Pretty standard stuff. And the last thing in this initial base that I set up was the animal sanctuary. Despite what the animals' names and this violent machinery might suggest, the animals here are definitely very safe and very happy to be here. And that takes us nicely into the next area of my base, which is the kitchen. This is where I cook a lot of my food over at this base. I wanted it to look like a sort of canteen, so to do that I basically used dressing tables and painted them blue to make them look like countertops. Then I used some of those technology board type things to make them look like menu boards. I think the robotic arm here kind of looks like some kind of espresso machine or drink machine, so I popped that on a blue table as well and put a drink next to it to make it look like it's making drinks. This sort of sink here is just made with a water basin that I've painted white, and these are just standard cooking pots. And I keep a bunch of my raw materials in this chest so that I can easily make food. And then over in this chest, I just have some grab and go foods that I have. And then along here, I just put some tables, scattered some seats around, and placed some drinks and food on the tables too, to make it look a bit more used and lived in. Over to the left here is my library. This is mostly just for show, but I do keep some summoning tomes just around here over on the left. I used these tomes when I was making my combat skill training video, where I showed you how to level your skills really fast. So make sure to check that video out if you're struggling to level up your character fast. But yeah, this is mostly just made up of the different bookcases and tables and a few alien plants, just to make it look a bit more interesting. I feel like I do need to light up this area a little bit better, to be honest, because some of those bookcases look very dark. But anyways, if we head just south of the library and kitchen, we'll be in the sort of man-made beach area that I made. Yep, that looks exactly like Dubai, right? At the minute, all I have in this area is this little beach house type thing, and that guy looks like he's about to smash everything up, so I should go dispatch of him real quick. What I'd really like to do in the future is set up a little pier over on this area on the left side of the beach, and then connect this little lake here that I've sort of made with the ocean biome down in the southeast. But that might take a little while, so that'll be a video for the future for sure. So next up, let's take a little run along the streets here to get to the next part of my base. I wanted my streets to be nice and wide with lots of textures, so I basically used a bunch of different loose ground blocks and painted them white to give it a bit of texture. Then I placed some of these vending machines around, which I was inspired by Tokyo to do this. If you've been to Tokyo, you'll know what I mean. There's vending machines on every corner. They sell all sorts of things. You can buy underpants and eggs from vending machines. It's wild. Then I placed some of these alien text square things on the ground here and there as well. I think they kind of look like sewage drains leading into the water type thing. And I also placed some pistol plants, some of these torches, and some of this weird plant life stuff around as well. That brings us over to the freezer area. So this is basically just where I keep a bunch of raw resources. So I've got some eggs in here, got some fish, and I just placed a bunch of my extra resources in here. As you can see, I've got tons of bloat, and I think this crystal floor makes it kind of look like a freezer area. And then out here, this is supposed to be a type of butcher table with like a knife on the table, a skull, and whatever this thing is, Terra trilobite. Doesn't look very appealing, I have to say.
I'm not eating that shit.
But yeah, that's what I've been chopping up. And then just south of that is this sort of hunter's lounge type area. I basically set up this little fireplace thing by placing some lava blocks and then placed some seating. And this is just another one of those dressers painted blue. I think it kind of looks like a seat in this case. And then this here is just a paintable rug that I've painted white. And here are just some animal incubators. I only have one egg in here at the minute, but it's ready to hatch. And then there's just a rifle on a pedestal. And this thing here is just one of the valuable items that I found. I think some of these valuable items are actually really great decorations. So this is just the frozen flame, but there's tons more that look pretty good if you use them as decorations. Then just to the west of this is a sort of meadowy wheat field area. I feel really naughty when I'm running through the wheat fields like this. If you know, you know.
When me and my friends sort of used to run through the fields of wheat.
I added this big blue pond and added some of these meadow tiles, which eventually I will add some animals here, but for the moment they're all living in my animal sanctuary. And then just down here I added this sort of farmhouse with a few different rooms, sort of little kitchen area with some countertops, a sink, a little fireplace. I should probably put a seat in here and a bed to sleep in. This is mostly all just for show, but I do have some farming tools here because I do want to expand these wheat fields to be really big, but I need to get some more blow seeds first. Then if we head up north to the top side of my base, this is my main crafting area. This is pretty much your quintessential crafting area. There's nothing too special or crazy going on here. I just have two chests surrounded by the different crafting benches. This is where I make most of my different things. As you can see, I've got all my resources in this chest. Over to the right here, I have some different electrical benches for making things like mechanical parts, rails, drills, robotic arms, things like that. At the minute I've just stuck some Halloween bags down on this table because it is that season after all. And yeah, just some glass crafting benches. And on this west side here, I've tried to make it a bit like sort of little witchcrafty type place where I'm going to add a potion bench at some point, but my potion bench lives somewhere else at the moment, which I'll show you in just a minute. And then just outside of my crafting room here, I've set up this little desert region on the map. Kind of like a mini desert biome, and I've tried to make this little area look really busy and put a bunch of different merchants around here. I was kind of inspired by those bazaar type streets that you see in Egypt where all the different merchants and traders are selling their goods. I think this looks pretty cool, but I would like to try and improve the merchants' rooms and try to make them look a bit more like stalls. At the minute I just use glass blocks so that you can't really see the rooms and you kind of just see the traders. But yeah, this is all a work in progress. I have a lot more work to do here. And then just a bit southwest of my crafting station is this sort of rail station that I'm trying to build. At the minute it doesn't really lead anywhere, but I do want to expand this right around my base so that I can quickly get to the different rooms if I want to. For now I've just set it up so that you have these two platforms, a couple of these tech boards that are supposed to look like train times, I guess. And I'll probably add some vending machines in here to make them look like ticket machines or something in the future. And maybe add like a reception desk. But let's head over to the eastern region of my base where I have the last few rooms to show. Another thing I'd love to do with these streets is to add some kind of street stalls and then trap some mobs to make them look like workers. Because ideally I want these streets to feel a lot more alive. At the minute they're just kind of stale. They look cool, but it would be nice to have some activity on the streets. But that brings us over to my improved forge. This just expands on the original forge that I set up when I first made this base so many weeks ago. It has everything you'd probably expect in a forge, all the different smelters to make the different type of bars, and of course the mega smelter for things like galaxite, and of course just lots of different types of the machinery decorations that you saw earlier in the other forge. And I've kind of tried to crack the ground a bit to make the lava look like it's breaking between all the different blocks, and then just put glass bridges over the top so that I can actually walk over them. And then just out here, I've made a giant lava lake. This was basically made purely so I could just get rid of things that I don't want in my inventory. This doesn't actually destroy them when they go into the lava, but I can just stand here and quickly drop all of these different things, and it feels super fast, because I've set up a keybind in my settings so that I can hold Q and then just click the thing that I want to get rid of, and this clears up my inventory really fast. And then I just use R to sort my inventory again. There's some really good quality of life key bindings that you can set up if you weren't already aware, so make sure to check those out. And then just to the north of my forge, in the northeast region of my base, is this sort of armory area where I keep a few different pieces of armor, and most importantly, this sort of defense system against the creatures that lurk outside. So when I activate this lever here, it opens the door, turns on the turrets, and turns on these red lights to let everyone know that the doors are open. And what I've done here is I've tried to make this area look like the sort of horrible living block tiles are sort of spreading into the base, slowly creeping in. And I've also added my different collectible things here as well. I think this one in particular is so cool. This area was kind of inspired by the Zerg from StarCraft. If you look at the map, you can kind of see what I mean by it slowly creeping towards the base. I will try and make this look better over time as well. And when I inevitably step on multiple of these spike traps, walk through several puddles of acid, and blow myself up with the grub mortar, I usually end up in the final room here, which is the hospital. Here I've just laid out some beds to rest on. I've added some sort of vital monitors with those tech screen things, and added some green lamps to give it a sort of green glow. And then over here, which is the main purpose of this room, is just where I keep a bunch of different potions for when I'm going to fight a boss or something like that. And then the potion bench here, as well as all my different slime blocks. In the future, I would like to set up a sort of big slime farm just to the southeast here in this dark zone, but for now I'll just be using the slime farm that I set up over in our multiplayer base. If you want to know how to build a slime farm like that, make sure to check out the mob farming video that I uploaded, which explains really simply how the mob spawning works and how to get good drop rates. But that's the base talk complete for now. I've pretty much showed you everything I've gotten so far, or a few different rooms which are still a work in progress. But I hope you got some inspiration and got a few tips for designing your own base. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and if you have any ideas or decoration tips, please drop them down in the comments. I'm always on the hunt for some cool designs that I can steal off you guys. And of course, do consider subscribing to the channel so that you don't miss out on any more Core Keeper videos just like this one. But until next time, take it easy and I'll catch you all in the next video.